All right,
So
guys,
what was the
welcome back to
question?
yeah, welcome back to another episode of the Off-Roader Spotlight series. We've already been talking for about 20 minutes now, and we just went on a roll, just some awesome, crazy things. And we finally got to the point where we're like, we just got to record. So, if you guys don't know what this show is, essentially, I talk to people who are actually in the trenches. There's gurus who are the face, who are the on a platform. They're great at selling, great at communicating. But then there's people behind them who are operating and building their businesses, their tech, their funnels, their conversions. And those are the people I like to talk to because they're the ones who are actually platforming these people. And so they know all the little tricks, the strategy, the conversion methods, all of that. And so today I'm sitting with Ryan. Ryan is a killer. He was an operator, owner, partly. I mean, bro, you wear like so many hats with Warrior Babe.
Yeah.
And so, bro, you do everything. And so appreciate being here. I mean, the war behind you kind of speaks for itself. That's all the status. I could just point to that. Like, what else you want me to say? So appreciate you being here today, dude. Let's chat. But my question with you, AI agents, have you messed with them yet? How are you using them? What do you think about them? Also, AI agents, sometimes I think it's just a fancy zap. Is that
Yeah.
true? Like break it down. What are you doing with
Yeah.
it?
No, 100%. No, well, thank you. First podcast, definitely ever. Um,
First podcast.
First podcast, bro.
If you blow up, I get credit for
Dude, I
just your
literally, I think
first
I'm
test.
pretty sure I still own ghostingguru.com, just like the ghost behind the gurus, brother. Like I've
Stop, dude.
never been public about anything though.
Dude, I'm gonna get that
Yeah,
from you.
so yeah, the Quick Warrior Babe, Luke and Nikki started it. They met in person in a gym, and he helped her get like in-person personal training clients with Facebook ads. He's like the OG version of that. So yeah,
Wow.
turned it into an info product. We were in Ovens land at that time, so it was like try and build out a essentially hybrid coaching, right? So it's like info plus group coaching plus community. And then Quick pivoted to when Lady Boss was doing really well in ClickFunnels, and they were like taking
Mm,
it that way, modeled
yep.
that and did a $27 a month app. That was like a 7 day free trial, OTO for lifetime access, that kind of jazz. And that's when I came on. So I was doing page builds and just random stuff for, $1,000 every 6 weeks or something random. And yeah, we just kind of running that for a while, met them in person.
Dang.
And then we're like, what should we do to actually take this thing up to 8 figures more or less? Because we're just churning money. And we're like, let's do
Yeah.
a funnel. So it was us and then two team members who were actually customers that then became team members that were taking sales calls, selling a 497 info product over the phone, and which just math doesn't math nowadays, but barely,
Bro, yeah. Like,
math barely math then. But yeah, we were slanging those, and then moved to a 997 price, and then in that time I joined as became co-owner in it at that time, and then next thing you know it's 100, 250, 500 million a month more or less doing that and scaling up a sales team and just running a VSL call funnel. So at that time, we were just selling up until I think
wow.
to 1497 for that product, and that's when we were doing $1 million a month.
Okay.
And then transitioned at that time, kind of scaled down a little to like 750 or something, and then started selling one-to-one coaching, and that's what we still do today. So transitioned to annual recurring coaching with like a 7K ticket. So it's progressed up. It's been 5K,
Yeah.
6K, 7. Right now it's like 7,200, and then external financing a bit more, but yeah, so started doing that, and then we went 1, 2, 3, almost 4 million a month, and then stayed there for a bit, and then scaled down, had acquisition things going on. And we can get into where we're going in the future with it, but that's more or less
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
leading up to. So we were in the tens, and then or like 10-ish, and then we went to 30 in a year. So we 3x like real quick. Uh,
Wow.
in
What
cash.
and have you ever taken your wealth dynamics test?
I have it somewhere. Yeah, mine's
Yeah,
like
somewhere.
yeah, I can find it. That's actually
Have you always been like an operator and a mechanic and the tech? Is that just like, did you
mechanic.
go to
Yeah,
school
mechanic.
for
Yeah.
like,
I think it was cool. I mean, I went to ASU for like a semester, but I don't think that counts. But
yeah, okay. But like when did you realize, like I'm okay with sitting behind the scenes and doing this instead of being the face? Have you ever had to wrestle with that? For me, it's hard because I love the idea of being an operator and achievements in that way, but there's so much of me that pulls to just be the front. And so I'm curious
yeah,
with you, like, what's that balance? You ever have to wrestle with that?
no, like this is like this week I started posting YouTube videos for the first time type of thing. Like, dude, I don't or nothing held back, for example. Like
Yeah.
I asked questions. I felt bad. I was like asking a bunch of questions and job posts and stuff. And like, dude, we're finding good team. We're like getting a bunch of info using this. And like those small tweaks are huge for us. If we get a 5%
Yeah.
something, it's like backs out a lot.
True.
So no. I've just kind of always been very analytical. So very in that
Mm.
And then we basically were all more or less doing everything when we were here. And then as we scaled out, Nikki went product and brand face, and
Yep.
right, and just like has continued to, and now is more or less just brand face. We have people in team now who do full leading of the coaches. Like we have 70 coaches, so we have a leader over coaches now. Uh,
Wow.
and then Luke has always been very, very strong in marketing and sales, and he's like a killer at that. So he has led marketing up until Monday is the first time we're gonna have a CMO. So we just hired a CMO that'll start this Monday,
Wow.
which will be cool. And then so he did our media buying up to like 20K plus a day.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
So
he's
he
been around.
PG ads. Yeah, Luke has, yeah, he's very, very skilled in that zone. And then yeah, Luke and I
Man.
are both running or like managing sales team and taking calls ourselves and doing that for the first however many 30, 50 reps, something like that. And then I just lean more on tech and operations. And mainly honestly it was like platform tech. And then overall, I understand all the marketing and I definitely
Hmm.
understand math and the system behind it more so than
Hmm.
right. So like me and copywriting, not great. GPT was like my lifeblood. It's amazing that it came out because it like gave me enough to get to 80%. Like obviously need the tweaks, but like just to get stuff live or to do stuff, I can do
Yes.
now, which before I couldn't.
Okay.
It's just
Okay.
not where my skill lies. It's
Yeah.
more in the like understanding of the structure, the economics, numbers on anything you want to know, math, how this can transition to this,
What?
like all that. And then overall ops. So like right now I lead basically like our ops meeting and stuff, but then like every
Hmm.
runs themselves. And then they all report
Hmm.
to like a centralized ops meeting that then I facilitate is probably a better way to say it.
Yeah. Yeah. What's a number or metric that you feel like people don't track or pay attention to as much as they should have when it comes to obviously call funnels, what you're running, or an info product business, high ticket coaching?
Well, with high ticket coaching, an interesting one is the fulfillment. So Hormozy has a video he talks about where like fulfillment in service based, so like essentially coaching, depending on how you do fulfillment, right? Because if you do group coaching calls in an info product, your fulfillment is like 1% costs versus if you have like a direct one-to-one or you're like have a team that's actually fulfilling on it. So like imagine like a normal smaller op is going to have like a community manager. The community manager costs you whatever 60 grand a year, call it, 5 G's a month across the year. How much do you have to do in new units minus sales rep costs, minus acquisition costs, minus whatever to then cost that out over the year? And then the spread between those is how much you like keep, right? And then
Yep.
so
Yep.
basically so for us, if we have 70 coaches, they're all making, and we have everyone moved over to W2. So
Mm.
we have real bases, we have real all that. So the
Yeah.
for that number is how much is future costs versus this model is very much so like cash flow front heavy, right? Because if you're
Yep.
collecting 7 G's, 10 G's, whatever number, you owe a
Yep.
coach, call it whatever number, 20%, 2K across that. But you only pay it out monthly. So like a lot of these people like, that's a big number to track, right? Is actual
Yeah.
gross margin and then what it comes down to, especially as you begin to like double up. It was, and I think it was another hormone. They talk about like 300K, a million, 3 million, 10 million, 30, 100, or like kind of like those, it's like this like
Mm.
profit thing they talk about where those are like the
Yeah.
growth periods. And like we hit that, no doubt. This is not me coming on and talking to you about like, oh yeah, like sunshine and rainbows, like have fallen on our face more times than I can even
Wow.
like right now, like the fires that are being put out, like it's always something. But like,
Man.
yeah, I don't know. We just have like a
What
really good team now
at
that can handle that.
at this level, what's the worst kind of fire to deal with?
Still, so for I mean, it's gonna be unique. So for us, let's say
Yeah, for you.
have right like to this day, we definitely test, we definitely whatever, but like it's one acquisition source, it's one acquisition channel. It's like it's real, it's crazy. And we talked to all these other people and they're like, how have you not? And like we've split test VSLs, we've definitely done
Yeah,
testing,
yeah. Doing a
transition
lot.
stuff. So it is. But like if we were just to look at like 80/20 on this, like it is 80 or 90% Facebook, 90 plus percent Facebook. It is one opt-in. It is one funnel. It is like straight through, right? And one product. And then so you're not making any money. There's no other economics that happened before then because they only collect the cash for that. So like quick numbers is like 1% of our leads buy, right? And we don't have setters.
Yep.
We don't have low ticket. We have nothing else to sell them. We have no anything in that way. So it's like if they don't buy this, so like huge money has been left on the table, and we know that just because like we weren't in
Yeah.
place and space between team and our own time that it made
Yep.
sense for us to like dedicate the time to do it. Um,
Yeah.
or like the focus to do it. Like it definitely would have made sense to do it, but we just didn't either know what to do, when to do it, how to do it at the time for it to work. Like we tried that low ticket We're launching the same
Yeah.
ticket that I talked to you about that I
Yep.
built that was just not a priority in marketing land.
Yeah.
We're going to fill calendars. We have to do, call it 120 to 150 bookings a day, every day for the last 3 years.
Crazy.
30-minute slots,
Crazy.
30-minute Zoom call slots. You have,
And
and
you're
we're going straight to closer, so there's no
this
setter.
is fitness. This isn't biz op crap. Like not saying all biz op's crap, but you know what I'm
So
saying? Like it's different. It's a different sales
not
process.
crap,
It's a
not
harder.
crap.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no,
It's
it's
not.
yeah. So the
But
answer to
you're
the
not
question
out here
is
making
like,
claims, dude. You know, it'd be
no,
one thing if you're out here
and we
just
don't anyway. The whole, if you look at our stuff, I mean, you'll see. And again, I'm not like copy guy. Like they crushed it on this. I.
yeah,
You said it earlier, like where did I land on this, and like when did I know this? I've always more or less been like 1 to n, not 0 to 1. And
yeah.
they had done 0 to 1 by the time that I was near it. Right? They had
Mm.
understood like, can I swear on this?
Yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah.
had already done like the whole like fuck cardio, eat more carbs, strength train, like strong is the new sexy, hard, like that mentality. They already had product market fit. They had it dialed. As we transitioned, we got more into the bucket, which is like, oh wait, this is 46-year-old women, and this is more like menopause. This is right,
Yes.
menopause mindset, muscles, macros, right? Are like the
Yep.
core pillars
Yep.
in that blog. So they already had that. So now it's just like how hard can we jam it, and what is the system and structure that you can use? Is it low ticket ascension? Is it webinar style with, is it just high
Yep.
ticket? This retention play because retention's 80% margin if you only have 20% cost to fulfill. It's like that type like style thing. So starting next week though, we're solving
Look.
all these issues. This core issue. We already are pushing in direction of Google, so we'll have multiple direct traffic
Okay.
sources.
Smart.
We do a ton of organic, but like you just
Yep.
can't even close to keep up with the consistency and the volume that we need. Is like it's not even
Yeah.
paid.
You'd have to be
We're doing
crazy.
Google,
Like,
yeah, Google and Facebook there, and then we're also launching low ticket. So with this goal and
hmm.
direction of like the economics. So yeah.
What affiliates have you messed with building like a strong group? Just get a bunch of affiliates. Those just kind of gray hat guys who can just
Dude,
push
I mean,
like
like I'm friends with a lot of. I used to live in Puerto Rico for like 3 or 4 years before this, and for
is
three
that where
years.
they'll hang out?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They love it down there. But no, it's a bunch of really good dudes, but like they spend so much. It's crazy, right? It's like this is just a different ball game. It's very transactional,
Bro,
right? It's like if your ads are off tomorrow, you make zero money. Or like, obviously there's exceptions, but like imagine you're running
still.
a
Yeah.
ClickBank offer and they spend 200 grand a day to make 300 grand or 250, and then tomorrow they don't spend ads. It's like you have a little drip, but that's about it. Like it's done, right? Because they're not doing
Wow.
emails or
Yeah.
whatever. It's like ad, bridge page, click funnel, you're
Wow. That's such an interesting game. I've been getting like learning more about it, hearing
it's
it. And it's
amazing.
crazy. It's crazy what they can push. Like they can,
Crazy they can
I'm
push.
like, okay.
Well, but that's the issue, right? So like that's why there's
Hmm.
managers for quality control. That's why they do like some of these bigger
Hmm.
brands for sure do it, but it's like it's very like approval based stuff like that.
Ah,
All of a sudden, you just imagine our setup right now. So quick numbers is, let's say 8 or 900 leads a day, 250 apps, 125 bookings, and then X number of units depending on sales per booking, which is then going to be show rate and live. So we do a blended, we do a sales per booking number, but call it 10 to 13% or whatever from there. 30% is like our target above that. So if we gave it to an affiliate, imagine he's a big email guy and he just nukes it to a list of like women over 40.
that's true.
And all of a sudden you get 4,000 leads. Like the calendar only goes out 48 days. We're not opening it live.
Oh,
It's like you get so that's where you can't do it. That's where you need low ticket. That's where you need something you can
shoot.
24/7, and we don't have that. The only way for us to
And
cash is over the phone right now. Or sales reps aren't,
wow.
or it's a weekend, that's a holiday weekend. Like sales reps want to do that too, right? So it's like all of a sudden your call availability is 30% down. Like, yeah,
So you're gonna launch your low ticket. I know we've talked about. I've seen. I know what
yeah.
you're doing
We're
on
gonna launch
that.
we're gonna launch that same one. We're just completely like rebuilding it,
You're
making it.
going. You're locked. Like, you're committing. You're gonna actually do it. You're.
It's already live. It actually went live an hour ago.
Is it how any sales yet?
Yeah.
Good man. It's about time.
Yeah,
No, but
exactly.
it is. It's hard though, bro. Because here's
It's
the thing.
hard because and
Low
we're
ticket
not
is
optimizing for AOV.
hard to optimize, dude.
We're not optimizing for AOV because we're optimizing for calls. So
Shoot.
we're gonna see how it goes. So we might do an order bump.
Mm.
Probably do an order bump. So for like a little
What's
optimization,
your goal then? Like you just want a
calls.
different funnel, but
Yeah,
it's like why not just do call? You just want to liquidate some spend.
I want to liquidate spend. I want to add a two-step so it goes through setters too.
Uh how much spend
So
ideally would you like to liquidate in a perfect world? Like what, are you trying to get 0.5?
a perfect world.
Well, okay, sorry, not per girl, just like to make it worth your time.
Like I did some quick math on this earlier.
Because even if you, because right now you're liquidating zero. So even if you liquidated point 0.2, point 0.3, you're still liquidating more than you are in your other funnel. So that's why I'm like, what at this level, what do you
Yeah.
even care about if you already,
Well, I mapped one out earlier and I think it was like 40%. So basically like if if it costs $100 CPA ish and it's like a
yeah.
$40 was like my quick one on there. And if that shakes out, so yeah, so 100 CPA on that,
Mm-hmm.
net 60. You assume 40% book a call, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ish,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
ish.
Yeah.
And so if it's net 60, that's $150 call.
Mm.
I don't know. This is a good, like, this is a classic example of like, these are things I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
what show and close will be when I add two step of setter. I don't know that answer.
True.
Right? Because I know that because right now I book them all through closer and I could tell you it's 50% and 20% rough, right? So 10% sales per booking. So if that's the case, then your $150 cost per call is a $1,500 CPA for your high ticket. And at 7K, that's good. That is
Yeah. Yeah.
for us.
Yeah. No, either way.
Yeah.
Um,
Retention. I mean, LTV then goes up further, but that's just that first purchase is right there, and then they can
bro,
continue. Like we have people in the
you
program for 3, 4 years.
we it's gonna crush. I interviewed another operator, publisher. He's not for same thing. He's building the face. He's got a lady who's the face. He's like you, but he does like everything. And they're doing low ticket, no high ticket. But I was talking to him and they crossed 200,000 front end buyers in like, I think under 2 years.
Yeah.
And like, you're going to crush it, dude. And it's like,
Well, yeah, that's what you're saying. Is like there's other people
yeah,
in our world that are doing fitness that their niche is like basically higher income or like there are people who crush and like great businesses. And
yeah,
so like imagine I forget their name right now, but they'll sell like a high ticket fitness that's basically to like an entrepreneur.
yep,
Okay. And then
yeah,
they can already directly right there. It's an income qualification. It's a this, it's that. They can sell it for
yep,
10 G's, call it. So they'll sell it for 10 grand. So already, depending on your CPA and all this kind of stuff, like you're already likely a
yeah, chilling.
better margin, better ROAS. And then because they all are those type of people, it's easier to have a higher ticket on the back even further. Because in the entrepreneur world or the whatever, like you and I both know, there's masterminds and groups and like in-person stuff and like different ways to do that. Versus for us with like a 40 to 60-year-old woman, not really like the space. Like they have great community and stuff like that, but like what's the upsell other than like maybe some sort of trip that would be all around like community based, which is like I guess kind of a mastermind, but it's just different.
Yeah,
It's just different where what are you gonna have speakers come and talk about versus if you had a grouping of entrepreneurs that were all doing fitness that are all in this type of way, would pay for a mastermind for another 5 or 10 G's or whatever number, and then come out to somewhere and have other entrepreneur speakers and stuff. Like it just kind of like
yeah,
writes itself. But what they can't do that we could do, right? Because I just try and look at like what is the opportunity that we have that we're not taking. Because if
yes.
it's something that is not really an opportunity for us and we're clearly not taking, what is something we have, which is mass market or a version of
Mm, yes, 100%.
we can sell a
Through
thousand,
TAM.
right? Our TAM is we could do 200, 500 units a day of a low ticket versus like someone like that. I don't think, I mean, you could, I guess, but like their TAM would have
It'd be so hard. Your ads would
so hard.
break.
You have
Like,
to dominate the market and to consistently
yeah.
do 200 to whatever for how long? Like,
Because that's the thing with your ads and your marketing is even if they go off and they don't stay as hyper targeted, you're still hitting you can, it doesn't matter because you're kind of broad. And so if
yeah,
it's still in the age group, then that's fine. Whereas these other people, like if their ads do start scaling, Facebook's gonna inevitably be like, well,
yeah,
we want to get some money from you. So they're gonna put you in different pockets.
yeah,
And
literally.
then
I
you're
mean,
like, oh, my leads suck.
let me find this. I
Dude,
literally,
TAM is like something that we don't, no one, dude, growing up, ClickFunnels world, everywhere world, no one ever said, hey man, look at your TAM because they're just trying to tell you to go out there and start coaching, make money, right? They're
yeah,
just,
you
you can
can
use
make a
any of
hundred
your
grand. You can
experience.
easily make 100 grand in any niche. And like Hormozy has a video recently where he's like, any niche you can at least get 100 million. He's like, the billion stuff starts to get hard, and the trillion is like only AI or whatever. But like anything can be 100 million. He's like, you paint garage doors and be 100 million. You could sell, you could do fitness at 100 million. You could do like basically anything,
Yeah.
right? Or at least
Yeah.
broaden your niche out to where you could do it. And so for us, like our like pockets that we found is the so the bonuses we give away if they get to the end of the VSL are menopause
Mm-hmm.
masterclass, A Busy Mom's Guide to Losing Fat. So like menopause hormonal style. It is the
Yep.
busy mom, the like, I have too much going on. I need to do this whole thing for my family. Stop
Yeah.
overeating, which is either like a mix of like cardio bunny who thinks they need to do cardio nonstop, and or
Yep.
it's like someone who's just like overtraining. There's that.
Yeah. Yeah. Going
And then
crazy.
ultimate guide to macronutrients, which is like one of the core pillars of what we teach and like how we do um like the eating side of things and like the nutrition side is that, right?
Mm.
But all of those are further down, and I'm getting on my world a little bit here, talking like copy and talking marketing, but like
Hey, it's all good. Hey, lean into it,
they're
man. You
further
got, I
down
believe in
on
you.
awareness. They're further down like in the awareness, so they're not as mass market. Versus like when we were going up and like looking at some of these other guys, they're like general fat loss. Like we're not that, or we don't have anything
No.
currently built that's angles or framing that's around that.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what we come up with and what the marketing team comes up with. Again, they're crushing. We have a bunch of
Yeah.
killers on. They've done all of this. Again, I will say 1,000 times over, like
Yeah.
map
Yeah. Yeah.
structuring and like kind of talking about this and
Still.
that, making sure things connect and all the tech and automations. Yeah, but like who's writing the emails, who's doing the copies, who's coming up with the
But
offers,
like,
media buying, like these guys, and they crush. And they
that's awesome. But
so
like, still, you need the more, like, the more I realize that the more I scale, the more you need to know. It's like numbers because we're in direct response. So, like,
yeah.
what you're
Well,
doing is so,
dude, we had a large conversation about this the other day. Like
mm,
I kind of more or less like I've been closer connected to this world than like a lot of the other people on the team for a longer amount of time. And then also these lead gen affiliate guys too. And I'm like, dude, direct response is the play. Like I just it's the play, it's the play. And like we are doing direct response, but we're a health and fitness company, we're this, we're that. And I was like, guys, we need to lean into this. Like we need to lean in. And like last week we had a meeting, we're like, all right, we're a direct response company. Like, let's be real. And so we just doubled down. We're like, we're going to do low ticket. We're going to do like info game. We're going
that's
to do
great.
all that. And then, because our business was right now is basically the back of all these other
Yeah.
businesses that are like crushing.
True.
Two examples that come to mind immediately are two different, I don't want whatever names, but like in the space ish that are both doing over 100 million, doing like 12, 14 million a month or whatever. And over like half of their rev is front end. And then I don't know the exact math on liquidation, but like you got to imagine
Do,
close. And then the
do
other
you
is
know
on
their
the
names? Can you name drop them? Or is it
um
like,
no.
you don't
Well,
have to?
yeah. I mean, just guys that are crushing that you'd know and like see their space and name, but
Okay.
they're like big boy companies too. They're like
Oh, okay.
you're
They're like,
talking 50 to 100 closers. You're talking like big stack, not just like your coach, your normal coach and consultant person.
yeah.
Yeah, like those guys are crushing. And like you hear some of the numbers and they have insane margin on that back portion, and then whatever it is on the front doesn't really matter as much, right? Because of how
Yeah.
much they clean up. So with us right now, all that acquisition is burdened on the back end of the company, which is the whole company. So we learned,
True.
like I said, kind of the hard way. And we had X margin at X percentage on 10 or 12 million ish. And then we went to 30, and like as a dollar value was technically higher. Like we made more, but like
Yeah.
as a percentage, it tanked because we staffed up like crazy. We were like, ads were up 30%, but it didn't matter. We had to keep calendars full, like, or acquisition cost
Yeah.
some more. So like any of that. And like we just let it ride. And like we finally got to a point where like, all right, like let's get back to like not necessarily like lean and mean, but like strategic and like really mathed out on where we need to be. And then
Yes.
be willing to look at team and like optimize that. Let's and like make that a good aligned performance basis. Like I got a lot into that. So it's just like finding good people. And I put that on that post a couple times. I was like, it's really about finding people because now that we're kind of where we got to,
When,
all my posts are about like the CMO and the setter manager or outbound director or whatever they're typed
yep.
directly. Both like killer positions, both come with experience of like further than we've gotten completely in that role. Which
Mm.
the whole company for a long time was people who their PRs, their highest record was what we were doing. Me included, Luke included, Nick included, like every month that's a new record is like the highest we've ever gone versus having somebody external who's run a $10 million a month marketing gig, right? And like they've
Mm.
done it, they know the playbook, they've done it, and now they come in and implement it. And like we've never had
Who, when does, because I don't know. I think about people, I
that.
see the short form reels and it's like, yo, you just got to hire the right people on the team and blah, blah. But I'm like, at what point do you start doing that? You know what I'm saying? Because
That's
when do
I
you,
think we probably did it too late. I
you
think
did it
we
too late?
yeah,
At
because I
what stage would you have done it? Or is that just for you personally, not for everybody? Because I know it's different, you know, the
Yeah, but then
situation.
across the team dynamic and stuff, right? Like clearly as a grouping, we had made a decision slash whatever to not do it, right? So like as a collective, we didn't move on it until recent. When looking back, hindsight 2020, would I've done it? Probably when we crossed like 2-ish million because we had just
Mm,
moved over to offer that was the coaching. So there was
yep.
back end money. So we knew that LTV was going to be much higher than AOV, or at least higher, not much higher necessarily, but higher. Cost per acquisition was like dialed, but it's one funnel, one traffic source, one whatever. And we
Yeah.
were still doing it. So like looking at it in that frame from, a year and a half to whatever years later, I there was plenty of money to have a killer in there that could be on a performance model. Like basically the money was there to pay them, both in base and performance.
Yeah.
I watched a really good video on someone the other day that was saying like the percentage or whatever that is base and then just tying performance and making like performance like a true performance bonus that is directly tied to a KPI where like you can never lose on the bonus portion. And like
Mm.
we really try to optimize for that now when we set things up. Like it's direct.
Do you come up with that since you're the numbers
Yeah.
person? Give us one bonus structure you set up and the math behind it. How did like
Yeah,
can you
so
think of
like
one?
we're doing, yeah, so the two that we're doing right now, and I don't want to give exacts because they're
Ah,
killers,
true.
but like so like for the CPA one, so for the marketing one, for example, like the core pillar right now that's built around that, like there's obviously deliverables, like first 90, first whatever, like guy's a rock star, but like it's get a low ticket profitable or basically the net CPA in a better zone, not profitable, like net CPA in a better zone. We're doing multiple brand faces now, so we're rolling those out. So there's like direct deliverables, and then what's the
Mm,
actual like number that we can tie them to that's like clear as day. I have dashboards in every single whatever department
yeah.
that we're in that are daily updating, quarter to date, month to date, yesterday versus like green red. So the one we tied him to was base that's healthy, and then performance is basically tiers of net CPA. So you could say like,
Gotcha.
what's like quick math? If it's like 2K, 1750, 1500, 1250, 1K, and then sub one
Yeah.
is like the ceiling more or less until we determine another one. We're open on like conversation that like once you hit this, the next goal is to maintain it because that's the biggest thing, right? It's like
Yeah.
hit it, and then the conversation is it's monthly. So base is recurring, obviously, on that way. And then monthly, the CPA blended was 1250. It's like you're in this tranche, which is a high percentage of the base
Mm,
of in addition,
yep.
right? So like you get in
Yep.
addition that amount. So that's that one. Setters and SDRs and sales and that kind of stuff. A lot of it seemingly by market is team volume. So for
Mm,
us, we're doing it based on team volume, and that same thing is basically ceiling type vibe, like of different
yeah.
challenges that they go through, and then overarching a team. And then for setters, an interesting one that we had never hired for directly. Like we last time we hired for someone, it was basically and it failed miserably, to be honest. And that was probably us and them. It was just a bad fit, and yeah, but um, it is a base, and then there's two different types of commissions that are for self-booked and auto-booked for setters. And like that was something
Mm,
like I
true.
I wasn't even like aware of. But if for
Yeah.
load ticket, for example, on that OTO, we're gonna cram implementation calls onto calendars, and those
Yeah.
to like do any of the farming to like pull them out of the CRM, but they're getting direct booked. So for those, it's like half the commission. So for those, they'll get
Mm,
whatever percentage you call it. And then their whole thing is just transition them, qualify them, and then set them up for the call. And they get the percent of the cash collected, which is the same as how sales
yeah.
get paid on cash collected. And then for auto, or I'm sorry, for self-booked. So those would be considered auto
Yeah.
booked where we fill their calendar with 15 or 30-minute slots. And then the auto or the self-booked is then mine in CRM because we've got like that math I told you earlier, there's called 250 apps and there's 125 bookings in a day. So there's the other 125 filled out the app, watched the VSL, opted in, filled out the application, gave us all their info. That's when we get phone number for the first time and never booked a call. It's like those are hot.
Mm,
And then
yeah.
going back to your very first question when we got on tangent, that is the biggest leverage point we currently use for AI.
Yeah.
We have
Okay. So back to
so
AI.
we have a
What are we doing?
partner agent that we have that is we call her Mandy, which is a really funny story because Mandy, back when we hadn't even the first video like I ever made, and we were like I was doing all the tech and build outs. We were onboarding all the sales reps, and I needed to create like SOPs on how to onboard yourself as a sales rep because we were onboarding so many. So I built a fake like person at Mandy Macros, And I set
Stop.
up a Gmail account and I was like, here's how you
Stop.
create your HubSpot thing. Here's how you create your Zoom. Here's how you create your Calendly, like
And
all as
now
macros. And then now, full circle, however many years later, Mandy Macros is the AI agent. So
it's so
right
funny.
now, the flow is after application, they fill all this info. They
Yeah.
sit on the booking page. They wait 7 minutes because that's plenty of time. And we're already talking about, like, again, here the live changes thing. We're talking about going to 5, 6 minutes because we talked
Yeah.
to our AI guy and he said that's the best like speed to lead, where
Mm.
not like hitting them instantly because they could just book on,
Yeah.
but not. So he said 5, 6 minutes. So we might shorten that for ours to like 3 to 5 and just test, but we haven't yet. And then it basically texts them and is like, hey, first name, this is Mandy from Warrior Babe, first thing. So it shows right there. And then in the background, this is all fed in and it has the entire trained model on Warrior Babe and like the messaging and like the intent and what we're doing. And then it takes all their application questions and feeds that in. So it knows what they've tried before, what their goal is, their context of that specific person, age bracket, like all of that. And then same thing with financial. It'll feed all of that back in and then basically send and be like, I saw you were interested in XYZ, or I saw that you've tried this and this, and like, how can we help with this? And right, and it guides and it has like these
Yeah.
paths automatically is like set to kind of go. And again, team, like theoretically, you and I can talk about that, and I can do the simple version, like you said, where it's just like a zap.
Yeah.
But
Zap. Yeah. So I'm
I have
thinking
a
like, oh
senior
yeah, you
tech,
could.
I have a senior tech lead that like builds these now. So he's in there, and like
Uh,
we're like off zaps for all this because the error rate was 9% or something, and he could get it under 2% because of the
wow. Yeah,
timing.
that's great.
Yeah, no, just like again, kind of like out of my realm, and he crushes.
Yeah,
So he
yeah.
builds all that out, and so that one performs, and right now it's say 11% of our bookings ish.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
10 to 15% on any given week will come from that. So if we have 1,000
Interesting.
bookings, 100 of them have had a conversation with Mandy, and then right now the evolution Mandy. Right now, she pushes them to like wordbabe.com/call or whatever. And it's tracked to her in that way. Inside HubSpot, we use
Oh.
HubSpot only for all that. And then
Yep.
they book in and whatever, right? So no cost. The next layer, and there's already an AI out there. So we paid for Max AI initially, which does that same thing, but it's a paid service and was like
Hmm.
6 grand. Mandy costs us like a couple $100 a month because it's got like it's crazy. So that, but there was another one that we used that is a bunch of really cool guys that are in the space, and it dynamically looks at calendars on round robin and can be like, oh, like, are you free tomorrow at 1 p.m.? And they're like, yeah,
Oh
cool.
yeah.
Generate and create the calendar event. So we had some bugs and issues there with like the syncing and stuff, and it just wasn't right.
Ah.
We were trying to use setters, but he just figured out that for ours, for the in-house one. So it can now dynamically, it's not rolled out.
Yeah.
Like, it could do that. So we're like, okay, cool, put that on the shelf or like have that built out, but not ready. And then the next layer of what we're doing that rolls out today or tomorrow is we're testing it on Blue Sending. So we already know all the numbers, all the same context, all the same
Yep.
copy, all the same whatever. Now put it in a different conduit. So instead of it sending green,
Yeah.
send blue, but the exact same messaging, the same AI, the same everything. Now, what are the numbers? If right now we're getting 11% bookings, they claim double the response rate. Is it going to be 20% of our bookings? Is it going to be 12? Like, we don't know. So these are the things we're just like constantly trying to test and figure out. And then, like I said, we have setters rolling out starting Monday, and
Yeah.
that's going to be an interesting like how do we navigate that? Are they going to double dip?
Yeah.
Should they call them because instead, or should they only focus on cancels, no shows, and we only get phone number after that, after app? So it's like where else can they call, or where else
Yeah.
can they message? So just trying to figure out like where AI can do its job the best, and anywhere a setter can do it better, let them. Like always finding which
Hmm.
one has more leverage and which one has more ability. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Dang. Okay, so you mentioned a tool there, and I want to ask you a little more about cool tools that you're using that
oh, let's
are
go.
in operation.
Because
So
now it's my speed.
I know this, which I love. I love this. I'm a junkie for it. Okay, send blue, sends text messages, blue. So it's like
Not an
Apple
endorsement.
looks.
Not an endorsement. There's like four
Yeah,
right now. There's
there's a
uh
bunch.
yeah, there's like high blue, link, blue
What's
send.
the pricing difference when using like that? Do they charge more than what a
One of
simple
them I
SMS
heard,
would?
yeah. So we basically pay a couple grand a month. I don't want to dox them, but like we pay a couple grand a month for essentially API access because that's big. Because like other people just want to log into the platform and send blue. We pay
True.
for API access because we auto generate the content of the text. So it's
Yeah.
not typing it in, it's AI filling it out and sending the message.
Yeah.
So between that and then auto sending and doing all that, we needed API access. I don't know if that was more or less. And then
Yep.
each phone number can only send up to 50 new contacts a day. It can send like unlimited messages, to my understanding, per person. So like if it texts you,
Yep.
it send you 1,000 messages a day. But like it can only type to 50 people. So in my example of we have 150 to 200 people that new contacts a day, it's going to need, call it 4 or 5 lines for 200 because it needs different for each one. So like we'll see. We'll see. But I know people talk about using it for sales reps. We use Alloware and we do Zoom calls for the actual sales call. So Alloware is more or less just used for like reminders and then calling to dial to like confirm or talk to someone after a follow up. You muted, muted, muted.
What are some of the what are some of the favorite softwares in your tech stack that are cool? Like you just love, you're just like, oh, bro, like you found it and you just got excited and it just makes things sick. Like that you feel like most internet marketers aren't using in their process.
Gosh. Wait, I gotta open up this sheet because this will be hilarious.
No way. Do you have a whole like just
Oh, bro, I have.
is half your job just price comparing softwares and trying to get better deals and just
You're gonna laugh at me. I was on the Zoom and we ended up paying Zoom for. Oh, this is a fun one that probably a lot of people don't know about. So you know about Gong? The one
no?
is so Gong is like the Rolls Royce of AI for your calls. So it's basically like
Oh,
all of your team sales calls, fulfillment calls, whatever, and it's optimized to tell you like everything you need to know, rank them, sentiment, keyword analysis, what pops up most of all the one calls, what was said, what was the framework. Like they're unreal and they're huge. So they are,
Gong, you said G-O-G.
yeah, Gong. It's like Gong AI or Gong something. It's for sales calls. And
Okay.
it plugs in with Zoom. It plugs in with like MP3 or whatever the file is that it comes out for like one to actual dialed calls. And you can use it for both. But I didn't want to shell it out at the time because it was going to be like 70 grand, 100 grand or something for because it's per license and we had like a really large team of closers. And I just didn't think it was going to be as much of a lift or like it was just going to be a really big overhaul to do it. So we paused
Yeah.
on it. And then Zoom created a competitor that's like more or less in beta that's like rolled out to some like, but it's another paid feature and it's called Zoom Revenue Accelerator and it's their version of it. So like we upload, so you basically create like a scorecard, like a checklist that
Yep.
that just like auto applies to the end of a recording of a meeting. So you assign just your sales reps licenses. So like all of our coaches don't have it on their accounts. We only pay for those. So when the meeting is done, it sends in and it ranks it against this scorecard. Let me see.
Zoom Accelerator. Yeah. Revenue
Yeah,
Accelerator.
that one. Yep. So
Yeah.
it'll rank them. It'll give sentiment. HubSpot already does like the talk percentage and like that kind of stuff, and you can do like keywords and thread. And like again, I think HubSpot's going to get there too, where they can do it because all these
Yeah.
the stuff already direct syncs in HubSpot. But
Yeah.
scorecarding feature is like crazy cool. So it's like, did they open it up with this and this? Did they cover multiple prices?
Oh.
Did they build rapport directly? And it gives the context of how it answered the question.
Hmm.
So it'll be like, so for example, like did the sales rep build rapport? It'll tell you how it
Yeah.
decision and be like, oh yeah, they talked about puppies and whatever for a couple minutes, and like she edified herself into a way that she's been with for 2 years, and this is why. So yes, she built rapport, and it's like, so it that is a fun one. And it's not that expensive in comparison. It's like we pay like I want to say like $1,000 a month more versus like seven thousand
Yeah.
dollars, which was the other one.
Jeez. Yeah, no.
And we do everything on Zoom, so we also had some like bulk pricing thing and like overlap
Yeah, yeah, some
something
deals.
where we finesse paid in like a chunk. But yeah, no, that's a fun one.
What else? What's another cool one you could share?
I know. I'm gonna pull up my tech sheet. I just need some sparks,
Get
some
some
real
ideas.
sparks.
I know we were talking WhopX before too. If maybe we can
Pops, yeah, those
about
guys are G's. Those guys are G's.
this. I'm about to go
Pop,
we'll
if you're
see.
listening, you know what I want. So
Yeah, yeah. I know what I
it's
want.
hilarious.
Integrate with freaking click funnels, all right? And so I can make low tier
exactly.
funnels.
We need dynamic UIs or native
Yep.
UIs more so. And then
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's a big one. The
White
multiple
label.
big one is cool, and I think they already have that. I think they talked about that already. And then selfishly, I told them cool rates I want
Yeah.
just
What
because
about white label, bro?
opportunity
Because
cost,
like,
the opportunity cost. Oh, dude, white label is a whole other beast, like a members dot word basically. Is that what you mean?
because it's
Like
like
white label
what
domains?
what like 40-year-old woman is gonna be like, oh, I can't wait to jump in this dark like cryptos area to like
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
no.
you know what I'm saying?
Their tech is like fire, but like their actual no, and so is the branding, honestly, for like people like us. But
Dude, I love it for like biz op for like
yeah, for
us
sure.
guys. Oh, it looks
Yeah, for
sick.
crypto, for trading, all that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
I log in. I'm like, this is sick, dude. But yeah, I see why for you. Anyways, anyways, they'll watch. We'll send it to
So
them.
let me think, because the other fun ones that I have are more so like we do 2 and some change million zaps a month right now.
Jeez, jeez.
Like that's
You're
our
not a
like
make fan? Not a make isn't the move.
I see a lot of stuff and like I built stuff personally there, but we've never run it in business now.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a big Zap guy. I feel like Make is Android, Zap is Apple.
Yeah, but
I'm
it's
an
exactly
Apple user.
the same
I'm
thing with
sending blue text, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care if it's cheaper.
I
I don't
understand.
care.
But there's just like more customization, like more stuff on the technical side that like I see definite like there's definite benefit in.
Mm,
But yeah, so like the biggest thing that's techie in terms of data, not so much like
mm,
cool fun, but all about data, is like I just never understood the value in like the proper structuring and like where things live and all of that.
mm.
The data. So like you're using Sheets, you're using your CRM, you're using like all these different things, right? You're using all these tools, and then trying to pull that data together for reporting and whatever. Like the whole point of all of that is to make better decisions, right? It's like
Yeah,
seeing the data, being able to analyze the data in a way that you can make a decision on it, and then transition, make different decision based on new data, and just feed back into it, right? So
yeah,
like the biggest
yeah.
thing we did at an early stage was building Zapped live trackers that started with marketing, that then led into sales, that led into the entire company. So I see some of these guys talk about it. I'm forgetting their names, but they have like these like company dashboards and company finance, and like they do it as like a done for you offer and like a software set.
Oh, yep.
So we still operate the master, like the viewer side of it is on Sheets, but the data. So like if I pull this up right now,
Mm,
so think about like every step for us and
yep.
Chris of the funnel and like where it exists. So you
Yeah.
have leads, you have um so you have leads, apps, bookings, new units. Okay. And then you have backend units, and that's kind of like the core of the marketing, right? And like the cash collected there.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have ad expenses, and then you have like company expenses. And
Yep.
like just using those all as inputs and filling in data all in the same place so that then on a daily basis you have automatic like more or less cash flow management report.
Mm,
We built that when we were doing like 3 million
okay.
like a year, and like so 300K or something like that, and it still to this day is like huge for our decision making, huge.
Dang.
And we use it on the back end for sales automatic commission tracking. Like we have it set so we still use ClickFunnels for order forms. Funny enough, that's why this is the thing. Because when we initially built it, we just threw them all in as funnel steps with different names
Yeah. Yeah.
and moving all that. But
Classic.
so like
That's so funny.
that example, I have a video about this that I recorded like 4 years ago. But basically, someone checks out with their order form, and there's like an 8-step zap that happens. That they have a sales ID that's stored inside like a master place. It assigns it inside Stripe so that every time Stripe transaction fires, and it goes into like this listing of all the data. And like now we
Yep.
have dynamic access to that information because
Yep.
over time you learn that that's a record and you want to be able to update it somewhere and it update everywhere, like just these things. But that then tracks into there because a sales rep
Yep.
for a long time was paid every time money came in. Then
Mm,
future state, it was the coach gets paid on a renewal. So now the coach note ID, the sales ID, all that is stored all within the same places. And then you have viewers. Because if you don't have like clean data, so a huge portion of our apps,
yeah.
that information. And that is the same way that we capture everything inside HubSpot to do all the report. I hate HubSpot's reporting. I hate it. And I'm so bad
It's
at
not
it.
good.
To hire someone every time. Well, all the data's there. I just don't
Jeez.
get why, like, I think I'm just an idiot, to
Yeah.
be honest, because like clearly all the data's in there. But like it
Yeah.
took me so long and I hired someone to build out the low ticket ascension one because it was like we have update, we have one step of the
Yeah.
low ticket, then two step or basically the purchase. Then we have application, phone call, sale.
Mm,
And I wanted those, but only counted when one of these was after the date of one of these because it
yep.
showed because if someone else because we run
Yep.
all the traffic to this other one, so they could have applied, bought this, and
Yep.
then would have counted
So,
as an ascension. It's not. But if you do
oh,
that, like just like that, like you don't think about
yeah.
like you're building it, and you're like, this doesn't look right. And
Yeah, true.
I had to custom build those and like figure that out. So we get like we're popping it out right now, and it's like 4 something percent. to ascension rate on high ticket or from low
Yep.
ticket to high ticket. And we're like, okay, that's a fair number.
Yeah. Yeah.
But same thing
That's
on that.
great.
If you see our app on there, we do financial question filing. We didn't do it for like we have 300,000 applications, something like that. And for the first 295,000, we didn't do a financial qualifier at all.
Why?
And then because it was like we didn't know how to test that other than like, are you ready and seriously commit to yourself and through finances, time, like all these things. And like so
How
we had
did you
one
end up doing it? What was your financial? How did you feel like? What was the?
we got it from some other big blogs in the space, so we copied it in all fairness, but it
Well,
is
yeah, duh.
yeah, exactly. Funnel hackers for life. I was more
Yeah, yeah. Let's go. Let's
like
just steal
funnel
it.
t-shirt, but it's basically like how much in the past have you invested in your health and fitness? So it's basically
Oh.
asking how much have they already. So it's 0 to 1, 1
Oh.
to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 20, and 20 plus.
Yeah.
Dude, the conversion rates, it is exactly what you would think it should be. It's
What do you
insane.
mean?
Like
Like
it's
for the
like,
people, like the higher they've spent in the
oh
past, the
my God,
more they'll.
dude, it's like let me pull this up because I don't want to spew out. It is, yeah, it's exactly as you would want it to be. It's like this, then it's double the conversion rate, and then it's like 2.2 the conversion rate, and that's like 2.5 the conversion rate times.
That's
Let me pull
so.
the exacts for you because I literally just pulled this the other day.
That's such a. That's a smart question, dude. You know, it'd be so funny to ask that in BizOp though. They'd probably be like
Yes.
$100,000. Other people like
But then you're
the course junkies.
dancing with volume at the same time, right? Because like, so whatever. So we basically put this whole thing in,
Yep.
and we're just like, let's collect data. So we collected data on it, and we saw
Yep.
which one backed out to what percentage. So quick numbers is 1 to 5% is sub 1K is 5. 1 to 5 is like 8.5, and then it's 10
Mm,
and 11%. So it's over
wow.
on the less than 1K,
Wow.
right? So and it checks out.
Wow.
Volume The volume is like quick sample size, 1500 over the same range, 1500, 1900. So less than 1K, 1.5K, 1 to 5K, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
1500, 1900. So the biggest majority is the 1 to 5K people. Then
Yep.
600 in the 5 to 10K,
Yep.
180 in the 10 to 20, and
Yep.
150 in the 20K. So it's exactly how you
Mm,
match it, right? It's like volume decreases as they get more qualified and
yep.
conversion rate goes up as they get more qualified. So now where's the dance and how do you do it to where you can still fill calendars? So you're routing it to the best reps and the other ones to the others. So where we ended up landing on this is, oh, this is a fun tech thing. Now I answered this. So we have that question in there. I have a Google script that is connected to a Google Calendar that
Mm,
is one main admin account that subscribes to all the sales reps. Okay.
yep.
So like right now, 20 sales reps. It subscribes to all
Yep.
their calendars. And then in one overview on a day, you can see everyone and how many calls they have in 30-minute slots. You can see where their blocks are and you can see all their open spaces. Okay. The Google
Yep.
script reads the calendar and tells you how many 30-minute blocks are available per person, logs them into a sheet that's real time updating every 10 minutes. So I can tell you that Amanda has 6 open spots for tomorrow and 30 days out, 15, 12, 0 because she took the day off, whatever. So I can see it by sales rep across and then down here by date with a total. I then feed that over into our marketing side of the company. So they are constantly seeing it and the percentage of booked so that they are constantly targeting over 80% booked, around 80% booked. Because they want to leave room, right, for reschedules,
Yeah.
cancel,
Yeah.
and also not overbooking because then we're burning money. So they
Yeah.
optimize for percent booked. Okay.
Yep.
Now, and that goes 30 days in advance. So I can tell you the open rate or the booked percentage is 0 starting 48 hours out because you can't book anywhere, right?
Yeah.
We use Jotform, which back and forth on honestly, but like we're here now. On Jotform, I have it so I basically have a Zap that every 30 minutes does a lookup of what the value is on the booked percentage
Yep.
for
Yep.
tomorrow.
So it's like
If,
projections.
yeah, so if like so for example, open spots is
Yep.
50, then in Jot, I have that as the financial disqualifier on. And when it is above 50 open spots for tomorrow, it's going to
Oh.
send them to a DQ page that's the same booking widget, the same everything, but it doesn't fire the Facebook pixel. So we're not taking the
Oh.
Facebook pixel on anyone less than 1K.
Yep.
And it books them with lower priority reps because there's two different round robins with different settings. These
So
ones get
you
the top reps, these ones get the bottom reps. And then throughout the day, like today, for example, is like 90%, 96% booked. Tomorrow, right now, has 70 open spots right now. That is updating into the jot form as a hidden field and submitting because it has to come into the jot. So it passes through the jot. So through JotForms API, I update the default value of a hidden field in the jot. It
yep.
submits in and then routes based on, okay, cool, there's 70 open spots tomorrow. Pass them to the DQ page so they can book in
So it's
three
almost
hours.
like a dam, like just to simplify for the listening, it's like when you have a lot of open spots, you'll like, hey, we'll let in some more people that are
Yeah,
like
let
less
it
qualified. If you're really slammed, hey, no, you have to be qualified, otherwise you get
have
DQ'd,
to. So the other
pixel.
one is if not,
Yep.
then it sends them to a next step page that's like, hey, we're going to reach out to you via text, which is the AI bot because they're applied not booked because they couldn't book.
Oh yeah, true. They didn't book.
So you couldn't get reached out to this, but you did qualify for our alt guide to macronutrients. Click here, push them to low ticket, and right now we pick up 2, 5, 10 low tickets a day. Right now,
Yeah.
that then a sales rep reaches out to you because that person is higher intent, even though they're DQ'd, even though they're sub 1K, 5% of those still close.
Dang. That's bro, where do you even think of this stuff, bro? Eh,
Uh, where I thought of that was through pain, through me sitting there and having to toggle it every day based on.
Oh,
And I was like, I need this to dynamically change. So I'm not on my laptop every 2 hours looking at the open spots and being like, do we need more bookings for tomorrow or not? Because we can open the floodgates or we can turn them off. And we kept doing that. We're like, oh, we'll just have it off. It's all DQ. All of a sudden you have 40 open spots tomorrow. And you're like, that's not the vibe. So we still to this day, like I change it back and forth right now from 40 to 40 and 60. So if it's
yeah.
above 61 or if it's above 60, right? So it's like overlappy. But forever it's been 40 for the
Yep.
last like 2 weeks. But now we just onboarded 4 or 5 more reps. So I increased the floor.
Yep. Yep. Bro,
That's a fun tech thing. Didn't think about that one.
that yeah,
We
that's
have
insane,
hundreds of,
dude.
we have hundreds of those.
Bro, I would
Yeah.
never do that. I would just hire somebody. That's
I mean,
crazy.
yeah, we have a team that does a lot of the like actually
That's
we have
crazy.
one, John, who's our tech guy, who's like tech senior tech.
Yeah,
He crushes and he does like a lot of
bro.
like I build those.
I
So today we had this big conversation. He and I
yep.
like, getting into like ops and people and stuff. Like I technically I don't even know what I'm on the site, like CTO, I believe. So it's like chief technology. And again,
Yeah.
it's tech, it's platform, it's all the things, but um we technically are the tech department. And so I still to this day do all the builds. Like right now, we have our first time someone in there doing the page design and build for the low ticket. But like I already
Yep.
built that whole structure out. You already saw it. All
Yep.
the fields, all the zaps in the back end, the data fields inside HubSpot, the automations, the workflows. Like I already built that. So I'm like, all right, in 3 months when we launch another one, who's going to build it? And yeah, there'll be a designer and a page builder or whatever now because these guys
Yeah.
are 10 times better than me, which like I can't do design. But like who's gonna do the tracking and the tech? And thus far it's always been me. Thus far it's always been Luke coming up with the copy and the offer and like
Yep.
writing it, me putting it into the pages and building the pages and designing based like funnel hacking someone, designing it off that, changing it to our colors, and then doing all the tracking and tech and telling them what split test do stuff. So like we're entering right now the what I said earlier, a good team that is going to be more capable and better at these things than we are, and that can
Hmm.
on recurring versus Luke and I up at 2 o'clock in the morning building this and going live because that's like how we
Yeah.
have on everything built up until.
That's crazy.
So that's
I
what I'm excited for. Yeah,
dude,
I
direct
just automate
response.
anything that's like annoying to me. I automate
Yeah.
anything
Then
that's
like there
yeah, that's it.
direct response, yes, about the copy and the direct response, but also you're limited in direct response if your tech is limited. I know
Yeah,
it's like the biggest people. You have to have it's like they don't no one talks about it as much, but past a certain scale, like a certain point,
yeah.
you have to have the tech dialed in, the tracking, the pick like
Do the tracking stuff like we just now within the last so I made a video on this. I literally like I have no idea what to talk about on YouTube, but like I need to start doing something because I need friends around that are in this space because like I don't hang out with anyone in this space. So like I just started doing,
yeah.
like literally the first one's like here are the website and the offers that we transitioned to over 5 years to do 70 million. The
That's
next one was like
great.
here's the offer, the call funnel for 70 million.
Bro,
Um,
if that's all you need to do, they'll come.
that's
You
all
just
I'm
put
gonna.
a
It's
you
literally
put
just
a
me
number
looming
and
a
people
Google
are
Doc.
just gonna come, bro. Like you just
Dude,
put that in
it's
your
a Google
headline.
Doc. It's a Google Doc with me looming in the corner, just like yapping. And
Yeah.
I'm here for it. But
People
uh,
love that.
I was basically saying like the evolution of the stack, but not even the full
Yeah.
that's just like the website itself. So we were on ClickFunnels, and I showed like this direct response ugly page. Then we were on WordPress, that another like because we were going for consumption. And then we went to
Yeah.
when we got to Webflow, the ability to do split test tracking was like night and day. Like how it was set up, and then how we also were tracking, because basically we ended up on VWO paired up
Mm,
with HubSpot. So it passes, because the big thing is like being able to match the customer profile. Because when you do a call funnel, it's
yeah.
14 days or whatever since someone's hit
Yeah.
the test to know which one they backed out on. Like which
Yep.
option did they land on that they bought 14 days later off page. So you have to be able to have like the server side, whatever you want to call it, your own storage of this data. So we ended up landing on VWO and it's working. And we actually have the data and the numbers are like
Nice.
close to matching. They're never going to perfectly match, but like unit count of sales and stuff like that. So that was like a huge win for us because we've been trying to test things over time. And like all of a sudden we look and we're like, we'll run a, we used to try to do it on Hyros because we have Hyros and Dr. UTM both on. Only
Oh,
one
okay.
Pixel though. We only have Dr. UTM feed in the Pixel, and then we have Hyros just for
Okay.
they
Yeah.
have information. But the Hyros, we would make different URLs for a split test, and we would have the URL rule in Hyros to create
Mm-hmm.
on the lead. So like
Mm.
we would run it for an opt-in. I would have a
Yep.
sticker on the back end that would go to VSL-1, VSL-2. And then I'd have a URL rule in Hyros that would say tag VSL1 dash the date, VSL2 dash the date. And we would run that, and we'd run it for 6 months. And we'd be like, which one of these VSLs worked? And we'd look, and it would be like 1.32 million. The other one would be like 1.31 million. But like, this is just like, there's no way. Like the amount of times we've done that on opt-ins, VSLs, everything,
Dang.
we finally are like, and even now, we haven't even changed anything. And the CMO was like, "Oh, dude, we have like how many leads do you guys have? How many different VSLs? Like, let's test all of this. Like, you guys have so many assets." So it's exciting.
That's awesome, dude. Well, bro, I appreciate it. We got to
Yeah.
do episode 2, I think. We got to check in. I'll be your friend on the internet. I want to be your friend.
Yeah.
There you go. Your YouTube videos are working. I subscribed.
Yeah.
Everyone go to Ryan Clogg. I'll make sure to leave your YouTube below. You guys can go check out those videos he was talking about and connect with him. He needs friends. He's a good friend to be. Yeah, he's good. Good to have him as a friend. If you ever need tech stuff or operations or software plugs, hit him up. But dude, it's crazy what you've done. Thanks for jumping on and excited to see where you take the company this year. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah. No, yeah. Big
That low
team.
ticket. That low ticket.
Get that low ticket. Yeah. No, I'm excited for what the team can do. And again,
Yeah,
they're
team.
they're
Shout
leading
out
the
to team.
charge on this. I hate to
Shout out
ever
to
be the
team.
one I hate being ever the one who's like, "Oh yeah, I did this." It's like there's
Does everyone get that
founders.
award though? Let's be real.
Dude, all three of us are on it, which again, like they started this thing without me. I want to like that was clear. Like this was before my time. I came on and helped grow with them, but like
Got
now
that award. That's what it's for, man.
so
That's all we fight for. We don't need the money. We just want that ClickFunnels award. Let's be real.
I needed it for this part and get rid of
Yeah,
it after
yeah,
that. I can take
yeah.
it down now. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
cool. Well,
appreciate
thank you. First
it.
podcast.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
it.
It was crushed it. It was great.